If we had your friends in here and said, what do you think Antoinette does all day? What does she do? I mean, actually do all day.
They might say that I was a matchmaker. It's about, trying to find just the right property for a particular buyer, or, trying to find, if you're representing a seller, you have a listing.
I hadn't thought of it that way. That's really good.
Sky high, check the movement is here, yeah. It's one heart, one shot, now the future is yours, go. I'm turning dreams into reality.
Hi, welcome back to the Compass Studio. I'm here today with Antoinette Embry, and I cannot wait to have a conversation. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I'm so glad you're here because we've talked a little, but we've never sat down and just truly chatted.
That's true.
About you and your business and life and philosophy and all the great things in life.
Let's do it now.
You're fired up to do that?
I am.
Wow, I thought you were going to be nervous. You want to go. So tell me about No. Tell me about where you grew up.
I am a native San Diegan, born and raised in San Diego.
Really?
Yep.
It's like you never meet native San Diegans.
I mean, that's what people tell me, but of course I know plenty of native San Diegans because just having stayed in touch with people who I grew up with, so I know plenty of native San Diegans.
That's got to be advantageous in real estate. I mean, this is your place.
It's true. I'm as a matter of fact, after this meeting today, I'm going to take a listing from a high school friend of mine. So yes, it's definitely advantageous.
Wow. What high school?
I went to Mission Bay High School in Pacific Beach.
Who's their mascot? Give them a
Buccaneers.
Go Mission Bay Buccaneers.
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
That's right.
So you grew up here. What would you say was your first, we'll call it real job?
Well, I worked in of course, a local restaurant called the French Pastry Shop in La Jolla. And I was, thinking back now, I laugh. I was a barista before there was a Starbucks. So I was making the cappuccinos and the espressos and that kind of thing. And then also serving and displaying the pastries, the cheese, the pate, all of that. So
were you called
nice.
a barista? Did they have that?
No, funny. That's funny that you'd ask me that because that wasn't a word back in the day. Charcuterie is another word for like the cheese and the pate and stuff. So I was called a charcuterie wench. That was the name.
Now I'm glad I asked.
That was the name for the position, in the paper, looking for, advertising for a charcuterie wench.
Is that on your resume anywhere?
No, not currently.
Oh, that needs to be. That's just to brighten up the conversation. Okay, so you did that for a while. You were a wench for a little while.
I was.
Moved on. Before you got into real estate, what was the last job you had before you did this?
So I was really always in restaurants in one way or another. And my last job before coming into real estate, I worked as a head waiter at Pioe's restaurant in Coronado.
Still there?
Still there. Beautiful place overlooking the bay and downtown San Diego.
And you were the head waiter?
I was one. I was
of them.
one of the head waiters, yeah.
What did you think of that job? How did you like that?
I really liked it. It has so many benefits, and I think look now being in real estate I was in restaurants for 20 years, and now I've been in real estate for 22 years. But looking back now, they're very similar. Very similar.
Tell me more. Why are they
set,
similar?
You're juggling a lot of different people all at one time, but yet you want each client that you're with or each table that you're with to feel like they're your only clients and learning new things all the time. In the restaurant, it's new food on the menu, new wines, that kind of thing. And in real estate, of course, it's new properties and, rules.
And new laws, right?
Yeah, the laws, yeah.
I never thought about it. It is very similar, especially that part of you have to juggle them all and yet make them all feel like they're the one.
Right.
And in your heart, every one of them is the one.
Absolutely. Yes.
Wow. Okay, so you're doing that. I assume you're doing it well. You've made it to the head waiter. What makes you think I'm going to get into real estate of all things?
Well, my mom was a realtor, but That's not what made me think to do it. As a matter of fact, I was kind of a little bit like, don't want to do what my mom was doing.
The
But
rebel.
yeah, a little bit. So she helped my husband. My mom helped my husband and I buy our first house, and then we bought an investment property to fix up and flip. This is late '90s, and we got the last house we bought. I'm convinced of it. The last house in City Heights for under $100,000. So that was quite a coup to get.
Under $100,000.
We bought it for under $100,000. But after we fixed it up and flipped it, we put it on the market. And the buyer's agent was this young woman who was, fun and hip and nice. And I looked at her and I saw a realtor for the first time, like, oh, I could do that. It wasn't just someone in my mom's age or my mom's generation. So, shout out to Maeve Hanlon. I'll never forget her. I don't know if she's still a realtor or even still in San Diego. Maeve Hanlon. She's what brought me to this point.
That's
today.
what opened your eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Maeve Hanlon, if you're out there, you need to comment.
Yes. Yay,
Thank you.
Maeve.
That's awesome. Okay, so you went into it. You've been doing it now for a while. What is your favorite part of being a real estate agent?
When a client, buyer or seller, comes to you with a goal, with a dream, with a plan, and to be able to help them, they have that dream, but they may not really know how to get there, or it may seem like so many steps and it's so overwhelming. It's really my favorite part is being able to get them from here to there, and sometimes even beyond what their goal or their dream was. And sometimes they buy a second property, or they help their kids buy a property, or they get an investment property. So helping them with their goals and then helping them grow their goals is my favorite part.
I like to think you're not just growing their goals, you're growing their family, their family long-term wealth. I mean, that's the impact.
Truly, truly. They sometimes you just want a roof over your head. First time buyer, I just want that first condo. But then I try to help them see what this can become over the course of time and years and building.
And you get to come from a true perspective because you've bought properties, you've flipped properties, done investments, so you can say this is real. This pays off over time.
It does. Yeah, it does. And it can be really fun too.
Are you still hip, Maeve? Do you still feel?
Oh, Maeve was always way hipper than I could ever be. But I think that's one thing that really drew me to Compass is that everybody at Compass, when I interviewed, I just walked in the door and I'm like, oh, wow, I need to be here. Everybody was so forward thinking and so energetic and, you could just tell very ethical and supportive. And so that's one of the things that made me want to be a part of this immediately.
So that's the culture, you would say, the energy. How would you put that into words? What drew you to Compass?
Energy is a big word, and energetic, enthusiastic, and just but sincere and the technology. Speaking of staying hip, that the technology that Compass offers is just something I knew I wanted to be a part of because it's just beyond anything else that I've ever seen in the real estate industry.
I think. And that's one of the things Compass prides itself on is the technology and the fact that it's agent-centric. Everything's designed to allow the agent to do their job and help their clients better. But even though that's the push, like Robert Refkin, if you're watching this, hi, Robert. If he were watching this, that's the order that he'd want to hear it in. The people, the energy, the authenticity is what drew me in. And oh my gosh, we have these amazing tools rather than the other way around.
Exactly. Truly. The other thing that drew me to Compass, I can't really conduct this interview without mentioning it, is the peanut butter pretzels that they provided in the break room. Simultaneously, the best discovery I ever made and the worst discovery I ever made. But anyway.
I completely get that. This is awesome. And wow, I wish I never heard of it.
Exactly.
They do supply our kitchens with a little bit oddball, like peanut butter pretzels and boiled eggs and string cheese, and there's different things in there.
Something for everybody.
It goes to show again how much. So you're here. That's what drew you here. Once you get on the inside, do you still feel it? Has it lived up to its billing, what you thought it would be?
Oh, definitely. You know, every year on your, you know, on my Compass anniversary, I sort of, you know, reflect on, you know, where I've come in the last year, and just sort of ask myself, you know, am I still glad I made the jump? And every year, I honestly, it's a more resounding yes with every year. Yes, they delivered, and way more, because I think the company moves so fast and is growing so fast that I'm sure, well, maybe Robert had the thought about, you know, some of the technology and the programs that we offer now, but it certainly wasn't ever pitched, because it wasn't in action. But now these things are happening, I mean, consistently. I mean, you have to struggle. You have to drink some coffee to keep up with all of the amazing opportunities that Compass puts before us.
And I just saw today they're now coming out with their video in emails, so that we can get rid of that expensive program.
I saw that too. I tested one, sent a quick one to my husband, and it worked
Wow.
seamlessly.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Okay, so back to you. Beyond Maven, was that her name? Maeve, sorry. Is there been an agent, either now or as you were coming up, that you looked at and said, I want to be like them, or I look up to how they do business? Has there been that kind of beacon?
I don't know that there's one. There are several, and I've always tried my best to surround myself with agents that I admire, and, you know, listen more than talking, so that I can, you know, just glean as much as I can, and you know, every conversation, or you can learn something from some of those agents, whether they're, you know, been in the business longer, or even those who have been in a shorter time and just have a different way of looking at things, or a different way to accomplish them. You know, I've always said, you know, I've always worked in this metro area, you know, Mission Hills, Mission Valley, that kind of thing. And I've always thought that the group of agents we have here, with all companies I'm talking about, have got to be some of the best in the world. They're just awesome, with very few exceptions. So
I love to hear that.
yeah.
Okay, so let's take that and pay it forward. If we had newer agents sitting here, and you were either going to share with them like a secret, or you know what I wish I had known or done early on in my career, what would you share with them?
I think one, if you will, secret to success is, or one thing that I would recommend to new agents, is get up early in the morning. I mean, you know, we set our own schedule. Everyone thinks that's so glamorous. You know, realtors get to set their own schedule. Well, don't take advantage of that and decide that you don't have to start working until 10 a.m. I think that getting up early and starting early is very important. And then I guess there are two ways to be that I see. One is an agent that picks a specific neighborhood and focuses on it exclusively, becomes the real expert in that neighborhood, whether it be a condominium community or a zip code or something like that. And then there's agents that, you know, work all around. I was always one of those work all around people, and it's been great. But I think I would suggest that people maybe take a look at those two choices and make their choice as a new agent, see how they want to run their business.
Would you, if you had to do over, would you be more localized?
I might be more localized. And of course, that's always going to change, because, you know, you sell a house to your clients in North Park, and then they have, you know, a few children, and they want to move to Scripps Ranch, and then you
Right.
become an expert real quick, you know, in Scripps Ranch. So you're always going to spread out. But I think I might have chosen a neighborhood to really focus on. That would
That's
have been
interesting.
nice. But and it puts less miles on the car. So
Which now the new laws they're talking about is going to be even more important. What would you say is the craziest or funniest story you have in real estate? showing or a
You know,
appointment?
I've never really had anything crazy. I mean, sure, we've all walked in to a showing that you had an appointment and you knocked and rang the doorbell and you walk in and then there's somebody coming out of the shower. I mean, probably everybody has one of those, but I've never had anything really really crazy that you'd never
You've
heard
been
of
kind of
before.
lucky.
I guess so.
By the way, I'm going to ask them for a little clip of what you said about the secret. Get up earlier.
Oh.
When I'm doing my coaching, that's usually, look, you're not going to want to hear this, but the single most important thing you do is get up earlier. And everybody goes, oh, they don't want to do it.
Oh, no doubt about it.
So you saying that, it'll give me,
100%.
I'm going to use that.
Okay.
What would you, if we had your friends in here and said, what do you think Antoinette does all day? What does she do? I mean, actually do all day. What would they say?
They might say that I was a matchmaker. Because, when I'm telling stories to friends, it's about, trying to find just the right property for a particular buyer. Or, trying to find, if you're representing a seller, you have a listing, trying to find the right buyer for their home. Sometimes there's multiple offers, and how do you kind of guide your clients onto which you think might be the best fit for them? So maybe another word for realtor is matchmaker.
A matchmaker. I hadn't
Yeah.
thought of it that way. That's really good. You're matching people and homes, not houses, homes, right?
Right.
What's a public perception, or you believe there's a public perception about real estate agents that you know to not be true?
I think there's a reputation out there, or a perception, that realtors are lazy and are trying to do the least they possibly can, and we make way too much money for every transaction. And I think the reputation is that we're lazy. And I'll tell you, I have never met a more hardworking, dedicated, committed group of people than realtors. There's not a single agent I know who isn't up fairly early, maybe not as early as me, but who isn't up fairly early, works all day long, works way into the night, works on weekends, works on vacation. We're driving in the car on vacation, and our partners are driving, and we're trying to put deals together in the passenger seat while we're on vacation. So I think that thought, that persona of being lazy is probably the most inaccurate.
Furthest from the truth.
Furthest from the truth.
I would probably modify that because I agree with you completely, but I would say of the actual agents who do the job well, there's a level of commitment you bring that does not allow you to take it easy, go on vacation, and not get on your, I mean, we should be able to, but that's the level of commitment you bring to your clients.
Right.
A fun one. And I know you said, oh, I don't like those creativity questions, but you can have a billboard right by the freeway, and you could put anything you want on the billboard.
Oh my gosh.
What would you put?
Just words, or is there imagery
It's
involved
your
in this too?
billboard.
It's my billboard.
Do anything you want. Business, personal.
Well, I can see an image of a white picket fence and somebody sitting on it, or maybe straddling the fence, and the words in my billboard would be, "Get off the fence." Because I think, just looking back after 22 years in business, people's biggest regret or missed opportunity is not making a decision, whether it's to buy, whether it's to sell, whether it's to make an offer in the first place, accept a counteroffer. That paralysis, we all have it. I'm not saying I don't have it, but that paralysis that keeps us on the fence and keeps us from making a decision, whether it be yes or no, or go or don't go. That's where people missed opportunities. So my billboard would say, "Get off the fence."
I love it. Mark Twain would have loved that. I think he once said, "When in doubt, do it.
I didn't know that.
Move forward."
Go Mark Twain.
That's a good. That would be a good billboard, actually. Just down the corner, have your name, phone number. What do you mean, get off the fence? Well, do you own a home? And you could go right into your questions.
Right.
Okay, so You can have dinner with any three people in the history of the world. People you know, people you don't know, alive, dead. Who would you have dinner with?
Oh my goodness. That's a tough one. Well, I think since we're honoring her so much today, I would love to have dinner with Maeve Hanlon because I would love to see what she been since she converted me. What's she been doing the last 22 years, whether it's real estate or not. So I'll say Maeve Hanlon is one. Oh my gosh. Freddie Mercury comes to mind. God only knows why. The more music of his that I watch, the more videos, the more movies about him, the more I think that he was just like the ultimate in performer, and I would love to have dinner with him. And then, oh, I don't know who the third one would be. Should probably be a woman. I don't know. I'm too focused on entertainment. I should get off that. Give me a hint.
Nobody's invited me yet.
Okay. I pick you. I'm the first.
There we go. Thank you.
You. That would be great. Because you could help me do the interviews. You would help me do the talking. You'd come up with the talking points. And
we could ask them
and
questions together.
Exactly.
Those would be two interesting people to talk to.
I think so.
All right. So a lot of times in coaching, I'll say that the most important words in the world, in your world, are whatever words follow I am. So finish that statement. I am
committed every day to learning and growing.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to end this with the 10 questions that I ask every single agent.
Okay.
That I basically stole from Inside the Actors Studio, but
Love that show.
me too. But take from the best. What is your favorite word?
Sunshine.
What is your least favorite word?
Regret.
What sound or noise do you love?
The pop of a champagne cork.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Those green beetles, I think they're called June bugs, the ones that fly, and they have this real specific resonating buzz. Hate it.
Very specific. I like that. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Well, I hope this is technically a superpower, but it would be immortality. Just because there's just not enough time in this one life, or this one day, or this one life to do all the things I want to do. So, I guess if I could live longer, that might help.
Good one. How do you cure a hangover?
Just don't get one in the first place.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I think if I wasn't a realtor, I might like to be a travel coordinator or a travel agent. I would love to be able to plan amazing trips, around the country, around the world, for people. So I guess a travel agent.
Back to helping people.
Oh.
What profession would you not like to do?
I would not like to be a trash collector.
Where is your favorite spot in San Diego?
So many. Definitely Balboa Park. And I would say either at the Lily Pond or at the fountain at sunrise.
Oh, okay. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I would like to hear God say, "Buongiorno, welcome."
From charcuterie wench to one of the highest producing agents in the county, someone completely committed to her clients. That's quite a trip.
Truly.
I mean, do you feel it? That's a heck of a journey.
Well, it doesn't fit. I mean, we're dealing with, we're not dealing with pate and French bread, but we're dealing with homes. But it's about I don't know. I can really see it being as a very, very similar thing. Somebody comes in, they're standing there. What do I want? I'm having dinner for 8 tonight. Oh, try this cheese and this pate together, or these desserts and blah blah blah. It's the same with guiding people towards a home that they can love for years.
That's going to make them the happiest. Love it. I love talking to you. This has been a great interview.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Antoinette Embry.
Working on the plot and the scheme. The true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking one shot for the kill. The breeze cut, freeze up, straight dropping the chills. I'm talking taking over pieces and shares of all.